Do you have any apps on your phone that you don't use? That's kind of ironic, isn't it? I mean, we call them apps because that word is short for application, that it's something we're supposed to apply and use, and yet some of these apps go unused, unapplied, if you will. I mean, this happens all over in our lives. It happens when we know what a healthy diet looks like, but we just can't resist the amount of sugar that's around us. Or we know how to exercise. We know what that might look like. We might even know how the body's supposed to move to be healthy, but we don't bother working out. So that knowledge is useless. Or maybe you can learn a lot about an instrument, but never really learn to play it, so it doesn't provide any joy. I mean, Jesus tells us that his teachings are the same way as well. And so in today's parable, he communicates this as we're looking at the parables of Jesus this year. And he says, "Therefore, anyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on a rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." He compares these two builders, wisdom and foolishness. What do they look like? They look like someone who knows Jesus' words, who hears them and doesn't bother living them. What does wisdom look like? Someone who's constantly trying to apply and build their house, build their life on this solid foundation. Now, this would have been a shocking thing to say for the people that were listening to Jesus tell this parable, because for them, the foundation of a good life was Torah. It was the law, the Israelite scriptures that held the law. And Jesus said, whoa, whoa, whoa. A foundation for a good life is the one who hears the words of mine and puts them into practice. He totally flips things around. And, it's funny because as we head towards Easter, we're going to have this opportunity over the next couple months to read the book of Mark together. And you have a chance to kind of track with us as we're going through various stories in Mark. And as we're reading through Mark, just think about, I wonder, do I apply this well in my life? Is this like an app that is unused on my phone? Or is it something that I try and tap into daily? Pun intended. I mean, are we more like the wise builder or the foolish builder? Is our foundation solid or shaky? And maybe, just like Jesus' listeners, we have to have a deep soul search because, I think some of his listeners probably turned away and went home and thought, this guy is crazy. And then others stayed and they kept listening. What is he saying? And he went on and described more and taught more. Are we listening? Are we living out these teachings to the best of our ability? Are we trying to forgive? Are we trying to not worry? Are we trying to have inviting? Are we trying to live last and serve? Are we part of a community that supports one another and wants to grow together to the best of our very flawed ability? Building a life on a foundation that will stand like a building could stand on a foundation, that will stand as a testimony to God's faithfulness, to God's goodness, a life that allows shelter to others, comfort to others, for those who might seek God's guidance? What kind of life do we live? Is it shaky? Is it solid? What is it really built on? I think the pandemic has allowed this question to resonate deeply for me. Is my life built on things that a pandemic can shake up? Or is it built on something that's more firm? Is it built on things that COVID-19 has taken out and put on the fringes and that I miss? Sure, I miss it. But is my foundation? What is my foundation? Am I solid? Do I have confidence? Because Jesus' words resonate and I can still live the same kind of life that Jesus encourages me to live. So I encourage you, take some time today, read some of Jesus' words and just ask yourself, all right, God, say this prayer, God, how am I going to live this out today? Show me. Let me pray for you. God, may we hear your words and may we notice and take time to notice those opportunities that we have to put those words into practice. I pray this in your name. Amen.